Mix 102.5, the best mix from the 90s to now. It's Big Papa in the afternoon. Jen McDonnell, Estate Planning Law Center on French Road in New Hartford, 793-3622, eplawcenter.com. Jen, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much for asking. Now, we started doing these because planning for your future and, your family's future is just so important. Mm-hmm. But there's so many things, and that's why I'm glad that we do this with the Estate Planning Law Center, because there's so many little nooks and it's like a English muffin. There's so many nooks and crannies, and everybody's situation is so different, and their family situation is so different that no two trusts and things of that nature are the same, right?
That is correct.
So as we're going through, I hear things and I hear people talking and this, that, and the other. What's the difference between a trust and a probate?
Well, a probate is a legal process where someone has passed away and you're trying to administer their estate primarily through a will document. So if someone dies with a will, you still have to go to court. The probate process actually means to prove the will. So you have to go through the whole process of confirming that this is in fact a valid will, notifying all of those people who would inherit if there were no will. And it's a very similar process even if there is no will. Because if you didn't put your wishes down on paper, then the New York State has a process for you. So
now here's a question. If you go through the process of doing a will, and that is a process, and to make sure you do it right, and of course you do it with the Estate Planning Law Center, eplawcenter.com, not saying, but I'm saying. But you go through and you create a will, and you figure out what you want to go where and to who. But then it's time to activate the will. That's when you go into quote unquote probate. Is that what that means?
Yeah. So that's the whole process of proving the will. So people always say, well, I'm executor in the will. You're just nominated until you're officially designated by the court as such.
So it's like, okay, so I think I got this. And if I'm wrong, tell me. I'm trying to make it, because I'm one of those street smart people, but I'm not book smart. But once I do something once, I'll know it. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those. Yep. I'm one of those doers. So I get it. The will is the award, if you will. I'm nominated for a Grammy. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm nominated for a Grammy, and it's Grandma's will, and I'm the only nominee. So going to probate, if you've done a will, is literally just opening the envelope and congratulations, the one nominee just won the Grammy.
A little bit, because it's also a job. So if you're nominated as executor, if you want to take on that responsibility, then you're the one who's going to bring that will to court and say, yes, I'm up for this, and I'm happy to take on the responsibility that comes with that.
So you mean that somebody can be named an executor and not even know until it's that time?
Yes.
Oh, I see. I'm glad we have these conversations, because I just assumed that whomever the executor would be aware of it ahead of time, especially if there's a will involved.
Right. Most often people do communicate while they're alive with these people that they've nominated to take care of things after they're gone, but not always.
That's and I'm so glad we're doing this. If you have questions like this, and I love the fact that you can break it down to my level, because now I get it. It's Jen from the Estate Planning Law Center, French Road, New Hartford, 793-3622, eplawcenter.com. Add them on social. Jen, I asked earlier before the difference between a trust and a probate.
Right.
And what's the difference between that and a trust?
The trust is the way to avoid probate. See how easy that is?
I was so close. So how does that work then?
So a trust is a legal living contract that you put in place while you're alive, and it hopefully avoids the need of having to go to court. So it doesn't get pulled into court unless there is fighting or other accusations made or anything like that. So it's a contract that you put forth and say, this is how I want my things to go, and you name the people in those documents to carry out how you want your property to be distributed, whether it's going outright, whether it's going to be held in continued trust. The trust is a completely private document.
Can I tell you, I'm so glad we do this. I really and truly am, because estate planning, you don't necessarily realize it, as you're growing up, but, as you become an adult, you realize how important estate planning is. And the fact that the Estate Planning Law Center knows all these nooks and crannies and helps families be able to set themselves up for no headaches. Unfortunately, when someone goes, it makes things so much easier and alleviates so much family drama and fighting and bickering and all that stuff. And because everyone has an individual situation, individual way of doing things, and individuals of how the family dynamic is.
Right.
You guys are amazing. The Estate Planning Law Center, amazing at helping people do achieve whatever it is they want to achieve and go through whatever means necessary to make sure that happens when the time comes.
Right. And especially in today's times where your person that you decide is your family may not be the traditional as things used to be. Like you have all kinds of blended families, and you have people that you consider like your brother or your sister who aren't really biologically related to you. So it's better in a trust where you can put down all those relationships and not have to worry about the court going after and finding actual biological relationships to have them sign off.
Jen, you are amazing at what you do, and so is everyone there at the Estate Planning Law Center. Thank you so much for the time. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is the Estate Planning Law Center, French Road in New Hartford, 793-3622, eplawcenter.com.